residents of our region. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gary Olson, our commencement speaker.
Good morning, President Dillman, Vice Presidents, Council of Trustees, special platform guests, staff, faculty, parents, and especially my fellow graduates. Several weeks ago, I received a phone call from Dr. Sanders, and he left me a message saying he had a deal for me that I couldn't refuse. I'm a banker, and I get to hear that a lot. Since it was a few days before ESU's football game with Mansfield, I just figured he was offering me tickets to a good seat at the game. Little did I realize he was going to be asking me to speak with you today. I feel privileged and honored as a fellow warrior to be part of your ceremony and humbled to be able to share some thoughts with you this morning. As I began to think about speaking with you this morning, my mind immediately jumped back to my days at ESSC. That's what we called the university then, ESSC. A lot has changed. The name changed from a college to a university. There have been several presidents. My tuition cost $3,000 for 4 years. That was the best $3,000 that my dad ever spent. But one of the things that hasn't changed has been Coach Dowd's. He looks the same. He acts the same. He is still winning. And as an alumnus, I am very proud of the success he has brought to ESU over the years, and particularly this year as an NCAA semifinalist. Good job, Denny. Congratulations to you and your team. Something else that hasn't changed is this building we are all gathered in this morning. It has many very special memories for me. I first came into Kaler when my father was introduced during a ceremony as a new dean in November of 1968. We had a little ceremony over there where that speaker is. I can recall it vividly. And as an undergrad in the mid-'70s, I probably spent every day in this building for 4 years. So I've always felt very much at home here, and I still do. For the record, it's been 29 years and 6 months since I sat where all of you are sitting. It seems like yesterday that I left ESSC and went to work for ESSA. During those 3 decades, I have been very lucky to work with, meet, collaborate with, and enjoy a diverse range of people. I've witnessed their successes and failures and lived through my own. At this stage in my career, I have a fairly good idea of what works and doesn't, both in the workplace and out. That's what I wanted to talk with you about this morning. A friend of mine in the bank consulting business always talks about the secrets of life. His secrets of life revolve around what it takes to have a successful bank. I will share with you this morning my secrets of life, not about banking, but about what I think it takes to have a successful life, to get a job and keep it, some secrets for dealing with the future, and one secret which will guarantee that you won't reach your potential. I'm not qualified to be Dr. Phil, or write a self-help book. Well, maybe I am after seeing some of them. But I will tell you how these secrets have guided me to where I'm at today. I had many good and some great teachers in school, and I, like you, learned a lot. But the essential things in life, my secrets for success, were given to me by my parents. To me, they are like the MasterCard commercial, priceless. These secrets will seem obvious, but for whatever reason, I find them lacking in many, but I do find them in all successful people. I mentioned that I spent virtually every day for 4 years at the field house. The reason for that was, as a health and PE major, more than half my classes were here, which leads to the question that I am most often asked, especially by younger people. How does a phys ed major become the president of a bank? The two don't even seem remotely connected, and therein lies the first secret. You can be anything you want to be. How many times have you been asked what your major is and what you want to be? And how do you answer that question when you're not sure? The conventional wisdom would say you're supposed to figure that out when you're in college, but don't believe a word of it. Only know that it takes time. My story of how I transitioned from a career that I trained for, teaching, to banking happened one day in my life about a year after I had graduated. You have lucky days in your life, and this was one of mine, even though I didn't know it at the time. I got to my company, the only company I've ever worked for, because my next-door neighbor who was 80 years old when this story takes place, was tired of watching my daily run out the door to either ski, play golf, or soccer. This is true. This is a true story. Take you back to May of 1977. If you can picture an elderly gentleman actually running across my yard, I figured there must have been some kind of emergency, as Ed never ran. He got to me as I finished putting my golf clubs into the trunk, saying to me, breathless, "Gary, are you looking for a job?" Not the question I was expecting. I was turning into a bum, and I guess he'd had enough. I knew he had an engineering firm, but unbeknownst to me, I learned that he was chairman of the board at the local savings and loan. There was a job opening, and he wondered whether I was interested. I remember hesitating, that if I got a job, my easy days of goofing off might be over. Not to be rude, I told him I would be interested, and he fixed me up with an interview. I didn't have a resume since I really hadn't accomplished anything yet. I knew nothing of what went on inside a bank, or even what a savings and loan was, but he was offering me an opportunity to earn an honest wage. There's one thing I did know, that as ESU students, we used the bank's parking lot to frequent Rudy's. That's about all I knew about the bank. He was my guardian angel, shades of It's a Wonderful Life, looking over my shoulder. To my surprise, they offered me the job, and I am eternally grateful for him chasing me down that day. Back when I graduated, I was afraid that maybe my education from a state college was not up to par with a private school. You get what you pay for, and I already told you what I paid, peanuts. I thought I might not stack up with the private school grad who paid that in a semester. The good news is that you have received an excellent education over the last 4 years. I have come to realize that it doesn't really matter where you come from or what your major was. What matters is that you use your education towards its intended purpose, which I believe is to help you think at a complex or critical level. Your education from ESU can never be taken from you. It can take you anywhere you want to go, which means you can be anything you want to be. And I'm the poster child for making that leap. The biggest risk most of you ever took was just showing up here on your first day as a freshman. If you were like me, the level of anxiety was about as high as it gets. You had to start a whole new life with new friends, new set of expectations, and the burning question of, am I good enough to be successful at this level? But the point is you showed up, and that's the next secret. I know far too many people who never show up unless it's something easy, and they never even start the adventure. Never be so afraid that it causes you not to try. My dad always said to me over and over and over, "Can't never did anything." It took him years of saying it, and it finally sunk in, I think. The third secret is, no matter what you're doing, give it all you've got. I call it, tongue-in-cheek, the relentless pursuit of perfection. This takes energy and discipline to keep fighting your own good fight and to stay on track. Of course, no one has ever achieved perfection, so it's a lifelong pursuit. Go back to school, take on higher levels of responsibility, challenge yourself, and practice, practice, practice. Again, my dad says to me when we hang up from our weekly phone calls, he doesn't say goodbye, he says practice up. If you don't strive to be the best you can be, you're letting yourself and others around you down. The greatest sin of all is to aim low, always set your sights high. It's one thing to show up and give it your best, but it's another thing to finish what you started. Maybe the most important secret is once you start something, never, ever, never quit until you're finished. The world is littered with quitters and those who have left jobs half finished. There were 25 of us who came to ESU as freshman soccer players. Only 3 of us were still playing as seniors. Early in my career at the bank, there were a couple times I considered quitting. But it's just not in my makeup, and I'm very glad that it's not. It's much more gratifying that instead of quitting, you dig deeper and rise to the occasion. So there you have it. You can be anything you want to be, but you have to show up, give it all you've got, and never quit. Those are the secrets to taking responsibility for giving yourself a chance to be successful. Easy to say, but very hard to do. They are also the secrets to convincing someone who is thinking about hiring you that you've got the right stuff, and they are also the secrets to keeping your job once somebody decides to take a chance on you. I suspect many of you have not found a job yet, so here are a few secrets to help you find one. Success in finding a job, whether we like it or not, often is a matter of who you know, not necessarily what you know. I know that goes against the conventional wisdom. What you know is important for keeping a job, but I just told you my story, and even if it was a bit unconventional, it proves the point it's often who you know when it comes to landing a job. Again, my dad came to ESU when one of his former professors from the University of Iowa, Frank Sills, was ESU's president, and he remembered my dad. So make a list of everyone you know, especially your friends from last year who are now working, and visit or call them. Get out there, don't be shy, and tell everybody you know that you need a job. You've also been told that you need a resume, but I don't know what you're going to put on it, because to be honest, you really haven't accomplished anything yet. What you need are thank you notes, so you can send a note of appreciation to everyone you talk to in your job search. I get but a few thank you notes a year, and those that I get, I remember. You want to be remembered. And don't just look for a job. Look for a good first boss, one who cares about people, who will take the time to steer you in the right direction, not someone who is only interested in getting the work done. I once had a boss who said to me over and over, "If I tell you everything I know, then you will be as smart as me." That's not the person you're looking for. As a banker, I am frequently asked where I think interest rates are going. Of course, if I knew the answer to that question, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing today. Predicting the future of anything is difficult business, but I would like to weigh in on a couple of trends which I think will impact the next several decades and therefore your future. One of the biggest problems in my work is the explosion in data that has been exacerbated by the growth of the internet. The amount of information out there is only going to continue to grow exponentially. When I was your age, they used to tell us to learn speed reading. I don't think they tell you that anymore. I don't care how fast you can read, you'll never get to all of it. The problem is, it's nearly impossible to sift through it all and then know what is reliable. Most data these days seems to be unsubstantiated junk. Unfortunately, much of it is taken as truth, and most of it is no better than what you find in the grocery store checkout aisle. All I know is don't do a Dan Rather /CBS News and believe in something that you can't verify. Don't become putty in the hands of those who will try to deceive you, and there will be many. Here is the secret for finding the truth. Continue to develop your critical thinking powers you've begun to learn here at ESU. Know who is feeding you baloney. Do your best to know your sources. There are a few certain people whose info and data I trust. Peter Drucker, Carl Sagan, Michael Porter, and a few others. I encourage you to find yours. If you don't, I think you all know the meaning of the word gullible and what it brings. We keep hearing the world is getting smaller, which for me conjures up the word diversity. As the world continues to melt into a smaller pot, you will bump up against more and more ideas which may conflict with your own beliefs. I believe you will need to be aware of and tolerant of and even accept ideas which may cause you stress. If you can't get comfortable with a changing world and the new paradigms diversity brings, then you run the risk of leading a very stressed out life. Here's the secret. Come to grips with and accept diversity, because soon there will be nowhere for you to escape the discomfort that comes from wearing blinders. I know you have graduation parties to attend, so I'd like to close my talk with you by discussing an amazing friend of mine who had a problem he was never able to overcome. If you don't hear anything I've said today, please listen to this, because for some of you, it might just save yours or a friend's life. One of my favorite pictures from my days here at ESU was taken right over there in the track, just behind the temporary stands here. I remember it vividly. It's a picture of my friend and me just after finishing a soccer practice. He was the greatest natural athlete I have ever seen. He not only became a professional soccer player, but was a champion wrestler, and his picture still hangs in the wrestling room upstairs. For whatever reason, he took risks, always pushing the envelope. Coming home from Huron, South Dakota, where he first went to college, he used to get into the draft behind tractor trailers in order to save on gasoline. He saved a little money in this way so he could get home, but in doing so, he risked his life. If anybody could do such a thing, and he did it often, and survive, it would be him. He was so physically talented that I thought he could survive anything. Unfortunately, I think he thought so too. On the night of his 20th high school class reunion, he was tragically killed in a car accident on his way home. It was early in the morning. He had been partying all evening, keyword, partying all evening, and he was going way too fast. It was a tremendous loss for all of us that knew him. It has been 15 years since he's been gone, and whenever I think about him, which is most every day, it still brings me great pain. Some of you are thinking, here we go, another old guy telling us how to behave. But my message for you is clear. No matter what you have going for you, how smart, how strong you are, you will never achieve your full potential in life if you don't know your limits and stay within them. The secrets of life won't matter if you're not on the planet. You can do yourself no greater favor than to try to remember that you are mortal. You don't have 9 lives, and recklessness will surely get you into jail, the hospital, or the cemetery. If you even think you might have a substance abuse problem, ask for help today. My friend has been gone for 15 years, and I dearly miss him every day. Well, when you get closer to my age, you begin to realize how short life is. You begin to look back. You only get one go at it. The questions I ask myself as I get older are, have I done good things with my life? Did I give more than I got? Did I volunteer to help those less fortunate? Did I save more than I spent? That's the banker in me. Did I realize that it's my friends who make me rich? As John Lennon said, did I give peace a chance? Did I remember to set ethical standards for all my actions? Did I take time to smell the roses and the coffee? Did I vote at every election? Did I get in touch with my teachers 10, 20 years after I graduated to tell them thank you? Did I apply critical thinking to all my decisions? Did I devote time, energy, and love to my family? Did I take responsibility for finding my own happiness? A good life is had incrementally, doing the small things every day. Follow the secrets. You are young, and many of you want to be an overnight success. For most of us, life won't take that path. Success is found over years of taking one step at a time. You can be one kind of hero through a dramatic action. Few will ever achieve that greatness, and those that do will be remembered forever. But the real heroes are all around us, and they are invisible. They can answer yes to many of the questions that I just asked. My own parents were like this, and I hope I am like this, and I hope that in 30 years you will have found your happiness and be able to pass that pursuit on to your children. Congratulations to the winter class of 2005. Thank you for having me here today, and I hope to see you all someday in the Alumni Center. Thank you.